A recent report from the Evening Standard disclosed the Church of England's intention to return 2 Benin bronzes, the late Ambrose Ali, governor of then Bendel, now Edo State, and the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, gifted Archbishop Robert Ramsey, former Archbishop of Canterbury, during his visit to Nigeria in 1982. The church, it reported, reached the decision following a request for information on Benin bronzes from the Digital Benin project.
So the news from the Church of England is incredibly welcome.
A professor of contemporary archaeology at the University of Oxford and curator at Pitt Rivers Museum in the United Kingdom, Professor Dan Hicks, touches on what the announcement means to the restitution advocacy.
So part of the thing we learned from the Church of England's action is that we need transparency over what organisations like the Church, but also for example, the Vatican, which has a very large anthropology and archaeology collection. I think a lot of us in the museums world and elsewhere would like to see the inventories made public.
In Benin City, Edo State, South Nigeria, a member of the Digital Benin team explains what the project is about and its role in the Church's decision.
Digital Benin, it's a project that is designed or created to connect Benin objects that were looted in 1897 and globally circulated between 1897 and 1930. Digital Benin has reached out to a lot of museum collectors and individuals globally. And one cannot, for now, specifically comment on the response from, or the press from the Church of England, because there is no official reply to Digital Benin's contact as we speak.
As momentum for restitution of Benin bronzes has been building, of chief concern are the thousands of Benin bronzes, including carved elephant tusks, ivory leopard statues, wooden heads and brass plaques looted in the 1897 British plunder of the Benin Kingdom. More than 900 reside at the British Museum in London, and thousands others are scattered around the world. Some institutions, including the University of Aberdeen, have recently committed to returning Benin bronzes in their collection. Key stakeholders and the Legacy Restoration Trust have plans in place, including the setting up of a pavilion to temporarily house the prized objects when repatriated, and their permanent home, the Edo Museum of West African Arts, EMOA.
You and I, for example, who need to go and get a visa, who need to go and pay tickets, very expensive one, fly to London to go and view these objects. So EMOA is making that possible for everybody, no matter which strata of the society you belong to.
Some awed by the exquisiteness of design and skilled craftsmanship evident in the Benin bronzes, as well as their value, have often argued against their safety when returned to their original home. Professor Hicks, also author of the book The British Museums, underlines the irony in such ideas.
That misses, of course, the fact of the great irony that these objects, these artworks, were looked after for more than 500 years in some cases, up until the point of the attack of the British. And that in that attack, the looting was not saving them. It was, the fact of the matter is that it was, say, 200 or so sailors and soldiers and administrators who took what they could for their personal gain.
Enotier Ogbebo is an artist. He knows his history and what the loss and return of the Benin bronzes mean not only for Edo people, but Nigeria as well.
This works what you call a repository of our knowledge systems, of our history, of our culture, of our traditions, and of who we are. And therefore, we must carry our head high. And we must also change our mentality to become as productive as our ancestors were, and achieve works which are far greater.
Edo still prides itself in its culture, tradition and art, creatively building fresh artworks to tell its stories. But the yearning for these long-lost artifacts remains unquenchable, and the gaping void unfillable by anything else. Jessica Olubuse, Channels Television News.